Hey folks, it's Nate. Thanks for joining me once again as we look to the horizon. And I've been promising for a while to do a video on upcoming projects. And this is that video. Now, if you watch my last video, you know I went on vacation. And since coming back, I have been kind of trying to catch up. So this is a little bit later than I would like it to be. And this is really going to be the writing vlog for 2 weeks. This is going to cover this current week. I'm releasing this late Friday on the 1st of July, and then I'm not going to have a video next week. Normally there would be a video on next Wednesday, which is the 6th of July. I'm going to skip that one because it's already so late. I would normally record that video on Sunday, but that's only a couple of days away, and my situation isn't likely to change a whole lot between now and then. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip a video for next week. It's taken me so long to get caught up and this video recorded. I think that's the best approach to take. So, where am I at right now? I have finished the revisions for Burning Bright. They came out to almost 8,000 words. That takes a novella of 33,000 words to about 40,000 words, give or take, somewhere between 40 and 41,000, which is just over the threshold into true novel territory. It's pretty short for a real novel, but, well, I guess it's a novel now. What you gonna do? It is what it is. So I have done a proofread of these revisions, and I have begun the process of working them into the narrative proper and making sure that it doesn't contradict anything. That's going faster than I thought it would. I hope to have it done in a day or so. And then, well, probably not a day. We'll see. But I hope to get it done soon. It is the 4th of July weekend, but I don't know how much time I'm really going to be able to invest in that. As I've said before, holidays are always complicated, and you really shouldn't bank on having more time on them than you would in other circumstances. So it is what it is. The plan right now is, rather than try and get the whole thing out in the next week or so, my original goal was to have it out at the end of the second full week of July. I'm going to shoot for the end of the month because I still want to have a couple people look it over and get some feedback from them, but it's not realistic to ask people to do all of that in such a short period of time. So, end of the month. I really need to get this done and out, so I'm not writing anything more new. This is just the finishing revisions to weave all this new material into what exists, and then getting feedback from the final beta readers, and then releasing the book. And in the middle of all that, getting the cover situation worked out, which I'm still talking to people about. Again, I was on vacation. I didn't do a whole lot with that the week I was on vacation, so, and of course I was trying to get caught up all this week. So really, this is the time to jump on that again, I think. As for the Gospel According to Earth, that's going along pretty well. I continue to plug away at that project, and I like the way it's shaping up. I will be glad to have all of that taken care of. It's very clear to me now that my subconscious mind is not going to spit me another Triad Worlds story like it did the last 2 times I wrote Triad World novels. So I can, I think, finish this story and have a nice little capstone on that sci-fi foray I first went on when I wrote Schrodinger's book, which was fun, and I liked how that came out. But I think I'm ready to be done with this project. It's just not as appealing to me as a long-term storytelling investment. What is Roy Harper, and while I like doing short Roy Harper stories, and I wouldn't want to write a whole lot of them together, I have a whole lot of Roy Harper stories I want to tell. Roy is a very strong character in the sense that he has a strong flavor. I don't know as I would want to chew on that for too long, But having these short 20 to 25,000 word novellas that focus on Roy and a single job he does, that's a lot of fun. I like writing those stories. And I have at least 4 or 5 ideas for additional stories that I think I'll continue to work on over the next several years. I'm probably going to write one immediately after The Gospel According to Earth and then go into something else. But eventually, I hope to have 6 to 8 Roy Harper stories that kind of trace him through a very interesting career that looks at it from a lot of different angles, and then I'll release that as an omnibus. And I don't know if I'll continue to write stories that focus on Roy after I have all of those stories written, but I may use him as a background character in other stories. I found that I really enjoy telling stories in the Colombian West. It's a lot of fun. I get to do a lot of, fidgety world building, and since the stories are short, you can, just grab a couple of concepts and run with those and explore those, and then set them aside for something else. I found I really enjoy that. I'm going to continue doing that even if I run out of stories to tell about Roy in particular. It's a big, one of the things about the West is it's a big open place. There's a lot of room for a lot of other people there, and I think I will continue to go back to that. Well, also, I want to write a couple of stories in what I call the Blacklight Chronicles. These will focus on a young man in a world not unlike medieval Italy, with a little bit of magic, but not a lot. The thing about, the Colombian West is there's a lot of magic there. It's very commonplace. People use it for all kinds of things. And I want to tell a story where magic is a little less common, where it's still a fantastical world. There are still magical beasts. There are still, signs and portents and those kinds of things, but where the people are a little closer to the people we know today. And I've chosen Renaissance Italy as kind of an inspiration because there's a lot of interesting things there. There's condottieri, there's the Bravos, there is the papacy and the warring city-states, and all these other fun elements there. And also, I kind of miss that aesthetic. It used to be a part of fantasy, and especially a part of the Final Fantasy franchise, but it's kind of gone by the wayside now. We get English or maybe French, Norman, Viking, European settings as an inspiration for fantasy, but we don't see Italy quite as much. And it was a very interesting, Renaissance Italy was a very interesting place, very interesting time. So I'm going to draw on that, but I want Andre specifically to be a Scarlet Pimpernel type character. If you're not familiar with the Scarlet Pimpernel, he was an early pulp hero. He probably inspired other characters such as Zorro, and eventually the Shadow and Batman, and all the other characters in that long legacy have tied into the Scarlet Pimpernel in some way or another. But the thing I'm interested in exploring is specifically the Scarlet Pimpernel as a rescuer. He went into the French Revolution and he rescued people that were in danger of the guillotine. And that's a very fascinating concept for a hero, not necessarily someone who fights evil, but who saves people in danger, and specifically in danger from a large system. I have told a lot of stories from the perspective of people who are in systems and societies they are trying to uphold. And I want to tell a story about a character who runs very contrary to that. Andre is going to be a character with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, with some issues with authority. And I think it will be interesting to explore how that kind of character can still be very heroic, but the different kinds of challenges and hurdles that he will have to overcome in order to help people. I think, of course, saving people in danger of execution or people who are unjustly imprisoned plays very well into that theme. So I don't have a whole lot of very solid, concrete ideas about what I'm going to do with that. I have written down some world building ideas, and I've written down some plot points. for stories Andre Blacklight is involved in, but I haven't weaved them all together into a coherent narrative yet. That is something I will probably work on as I get to the end of the Gospel According to Earth and I write the next Roy Harper adventure. Because, as I've said before, I generally have a lot of projects in various stages at any given time, and it just helps me. It helps me stay focused because I can always, whenever I have writer's block on one thing, I can move to something else. So I will, but I also have only so much bandwidth. I try not to have two stories in the same stage of production at one time. So, yeah, I'm holding off on developing the Blacklight Chronicles too much until it's ready to go into that stage of production. Finally, I have completed an outline and written a couple of introductory pages for The Savior in the Sewers, which is the sequel to Burning Bright. I mostly did that on vacation because I didn't have as much time to sit down with a laptop and write on that. So I just took a tablet of paper with me in the car, and when I had 15, 20 minutes free time, waiting for something, or as people were getting ready in the morning for family activities, I would pull that out and I would write stuff down. And one of the things that was difficult about thinking about The Savior in the Sewers was that I needed to build continuity between Burning Bright and that story, and there is a bit of a time gap between them. So I was thinking about different ways to approach that, and I finally cracked the problem. I think. So the test writing I have been doing for that is very promising. So I am thinking about that now. Once I finish Burning Bright, I will bring The Savior in the Sewers up onto a front burner. So I will be working on blog fiction and that at one time. I have found that I can juggle having two of those kind of projects going most of the time. I will probably have to push Savior in the Sewers back onto the back burner when I decide to do theater or something like that. But I don't currently have a whole lot of that on my plate. It is the summer. Not a lot of that happens during the summer. So I am going to be developing those two things at the same time. And but, of course, Savior in the Sewers is not blog fiction, much like Burning Bright. I'm going to run that past an editor. I'm going to really hammer out the details. I'm going to get several test readers to look at it. And then I will offer it for sale. Or not. I mean, the reaction to Burning Bright is, of course, going to be an element as well. But that is the other element of my future plans going forward. I do have another couple of story ideas that I will begin to develop as time goes on. I always have story ideas coming and going. I think I've mentioned on here before, ideas are really cheap. It's very easy to have an idea. It's very difficult to develop that idea. So I will be working on ironing out some of those. One is called The Symbiosis Strain. I've always wanted to write what I refer to as a non-traditional zombie tale. And The Symbiosis Strain is, I think, how I want to approach it. I think. As I've worked on some of these other projects, I think, finally cracked the puzzle. Zombie stories are difficult to tell for a person like me because they don't really play to the themes and ideas I like a lot. But as I was working specifically on developing ideas for the Blacklight Chronicles, I think I accidentally cracked this zombie tale, and The Symbiosis Strain is my idea for that. But it's very, very vague right now. I'm still just writing down the world building ideas and the approaches I want to take and the kinds of characters I want in there. And as those things begin to be in dialogue with each other, I will actually begin to develop that story. And that is really going to wait until after the Gospel According to Earth is done. The dialogue part, writing stuff down, you should always have paper with you so you can write down ideas, or at least record them on your phone. Personally, I find it easier to keep track of ideas when they're written down as opposed to a bunch of files and stuff like that. So yeah, I am working on developing that, but I can't say a whole lot about it beyond non-traditional zombie story that focuses on some interesting elements that I think modern zombie stories have completely lost track of. So that's what I'm working on. That's what is going to be occupying my writing work for the next several years. Hopefully, hearing all that has inspired you to take a look at what I'm writing now and see how those ideas continue to develop as stuff that I write continues to go live. And I have a whole lot of different kinds of stories I want to tell, and hopefully that makes that clear to you as well. If you don't like what I'm working on right now, hey, there's a whole bunch of other stories there on my blog you can go and read, and I may have something that appeals to you more coming soon. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. There's a like button and a subscribe button down below. You can use those as you see fit, and I will talk to you later.